What's up guys, Jared here, Paintbrush Samurai. Today, we're going to talk about how to stay on track and what happens if you get off track. Alright? So I've actually developed what I think is a pretty good method for this. And it's a funny story how I got it. I've actually been reading this giant manga about Osamu Tezuka, which if you don't know, created Astro Boy. Kind of a big deal. He's also known as the god of manga, so anybody interested in manga or art in general, definitely got to check out this book. And anyways, this guy was so busy publishing manga that he worked for like 10 different companies at a time, and the editors of these companies were so concerned about getting their pages from Tezuka because he was so busy that they would actually follow him around. And it got to the point where they basically lived in his studio with him, and they just sat there and waited to get their pages done, and they would argue with the other editors about who's next and who's going to get the next page that Tezuka does, right? So the way they eventually solved this problem is they started holding meetings, either at a bar or just at Tezuka's studio, where they would all get together and they would rate the priority of everybody's manga, and that's the order that Tezuka would do it in. Right? So how would they determine the priority? Well, for example, things like color would always come higher priority because they took longer to print. So they needed to be done earlier so that they could be printed first because they take more time to print. Makes sense? Now, another high priority manga would be something that he didn't finish or that he was late on last month. Right? So if I was an editor and Tezuka was late on mine, I'd be right at the top of the list, because last week I didn't get mine. So I kind of thought this was interesting, plus I decided to try to apply it to myself. And I found it pretty useful in scheduling my own to-do lists. Alright, now if you don't already do this, I recommend you make an objective or a task list or a to-do list every single day. Now I really don't recommend that you try and do it more than 2 or 3 days. Just like, I've tried it for a week, plan out the whole week, and it doesn't always work out that well because things come up that are very unexpected. But on a day-to-day basis, you tend to know what's going to happen. Like, you're going to wake up today, Wednesday morning, and I know what Wednesday consists of, right? But I don't always know what next Wednesday is going to consist of because stuff always comes up. Alright, another benefit of writing your objectives every single day is you're more motivated to do them. If you write down, I'm going to draw 3 pages today, you're more likely to do it than a week ago I wrote down I was going to do 3 pages today, so maybe I should do it. It's like, you kind of just forget about it. But just the little tedious task of writing down your objectives each day helps you get everything done. Alright, and you can do it the day before if you want. That kind of motivates you when you're sleeping and you're like, oh, I'm gonna wake up and do my stuff. Or you can just wake up and do it in the morning. I like to do it in the morning. Personally, I don't really think it matters though. I think you can just do it at night. But anyways, what happens is sometimes some stuff does come up unexpectedly. Alright, so that's what I want to talk about also is what happens when you do get off track. This happens to me all the time, alright? Last week I had my buddy's 21st birthday, okay? Can't just not go to that, right? And then I had my grandma was in the hospital. I had to visit her. Alright, can't just not visit grandma in the hospital. You know what I mean? So you got to do these things. Things come up, and what happens is your work suffers, or your passion suffers. My drawing suffers. Photoshop suffers. Alright, whatever it is that day. I think I even missed one YouTube video day. I'm totally sorry about that. Alright, so what I do when this happens, let's take yesterday for example. Alright, get yourself a whiteboard. I don't know if I said that already. Get yourself a whiteboard if you don't have anything. These are totally awesome for objectives. You can get a smaller one, you can get a cheap one, $5. I think this thing was like $7 and has the days of the weeks listed. That's fantastic. Alright, now yesterday, I did not do my Photoshop. Bad Jared. Bad guy. So what did I do today? When I woke up, I wrote Photoshop right at the top of the list here, and I knocked it off by 9 a.m. Right? So each day, not only are we going to write our objectives for the day, but you should also list them in priority, right? So you're now Osamu Tezuka, and you also have to be your own editor, all right? And you got to give your tasks priority that you got to do, all right? If there's something really important you got to do, you should look to knock it out first, all right? Now, if there's not really any importance difference between objectives, then you should look at time consumption. Something's going to take you several hours to do. It's best to knock it out early in the day. Alright, because if you start with the small tasks, let's say I start with the small task, I read a chapter of my book, I go to the coffee shop, whatever, I go to the store, I do just like some quick easy things, and then I go to work for the day, and then I come home and now I have to do a 3-hour study session of Japanese. Fuck, I do not do that Japanese that day, okay? Nobody wants to do hard, rigorous work late in the day. You got to get it done and get it done early. Not to mention, once you knock out a task early, you build momentum for the day, alright? You work for 3 hours on something in the morning, alright? Like today I woke up, I busted out that Photoshop like an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. It's like, the rest of the tasks seem easy now. It's like, alright, I'm not going to not read a chapter because that's easy, I'm not going to not do my lesson today or whatever, my Japanese today, my drawing for the day, right? So this video is already starting to run long, so I'm gonna end it here, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video about how to stay on track and what happens if you do get off track. Alright, I'm Jared, Paintbrush Samurai.